Hey, welcome back. Today we are talking about the 8Q challenge. If you can't sleep, just count sheep. So directions are as follows. Given a non-negative integer, such as 3, return a string with a murmur. So basically you're going to input a number and you want to count up to that number and add sheep ellipses at the end. So we're counting sheep based on the number that the person provides into the function. So if I put a 6 in here, it would be 1 sheep, 2 sheep, 3 sheep, 4 sheep, 5 sheep, 6 sheep, and etc. So let's take this variable, paste it in here. First thing is always console.log so that we can see what is going on. Count sheep num, and I will put the num up top. So the num6 is what is being sent into this function, and that's what we're going to use to count our sheep. Okay, let's see. The way that I'm thinking about it is I am going to throw a number into the function, and I'm going to concat sheep with the ellipses at the end. And we're going to push it into an array. And then at the end, when I return it, because I believe they want a sentence, I'm just going to join it at the end. So what we have to do is we have to start with an empty array to do that. So I'm just going to name it sentence and empty array. Just from looking at this challenge prior, I remember that we need, if 0 is provided, the function should send out an empty string like that. So I am going to put an if statement in there and basically just have it apply for if the user puts in a 0. So if num is equal to 0, then simply return an empty string. So that will be the first thing that I account for. Okay. Now what we have to do is we have to make this function create this sentence where it counts up through sheep. The first way that I thought of was just making a loop. So I'm going to start the loop. There's an easier way to do this. For, change the index to I to shorten it. Okay, so we are not looking through an array at this point. We are counting up to a number. So as always, the for loop, you set the index at 0 because it's counting, it's iterating through things for you. But this time we're not iterating through an array. We're just we're counting up to a certain number. So we're going to set the, actually we're not going to set it to 0 this time. We're going to set it to 1 because it should go 1 sheep, 2 sheep. If I set it to 0, it's going to start at 0 sheep, 1 sheep, 2 sheep. So let's start it at 1. And it is going to keep adding this. It's going to keep counting, basically. That's what this plus plus is. It's going to count up 1 every single time until we reach, until I is basically equal to num right here. So num, that's what we want to count until. We want to count up until num. So whatever num is, it could be a 3, it could be a 4, it could be a 5. I'll start it at 6 like I did. This is a placeholder. We can get rid of that for the time being. Okay. And I think this loop is set up correctly. So we start at 1. We're going to count up to num and increment only by 1. Okay, so every single time I said I was going to push these into the array. So I'm utilizing this empty array right here. That's where I'm going to push these sheep into. So let's do that. I'm going to go sentence.push, and just for the sake of seeing how this works, let's push the index in and see how that is. Let's just see if it's working. So I need to return the sentence. Oops, I don't know what I'm doing. Return sentence, and let's see if that's working. Okay, yeah, so we are now counting up to that num, which is 6, and we're pushing these numbers into this array right here. But just remember, we don't want an array in the end. We will want a string, but that's an easy fix. Okay, so we got the numbers in here. However, we don't want just the numbers. We want it to say 1 sheep, 2 sheep, 3 sheep, so on. So the easiest way to do it is I'm going to use template literals, and I'm going to push the I in this way. So let's just see if that is still working. Cool. So it is pushing it now in as strings. And all I should have to do is really add sheep onto this. So sheep, let's see, 1 sheep, 2 sheep, 3 sheep. Seems like it's working. And we need the ellipses. However, it does not want it in an array. So when I return it, the easiest thing that I can do, instead of returning the array, let's just return the array joined back as a sentence. Okay, 1 sheep, 2 sheep, 3 sheep, 4 sheep, 5. Okay, let's test a few other numbers. 1 sheep. If I do 0, should provide that empty array. 2, 1 sheep, 2 sheep, 1 sheep, 2, 3. Okay, let's copy this in. Codewars. Whoa, 1 sheep, expected 1 sheep to equal. Oh, I'm just not, there's no space in between. Let's just throw it in here instead of altering everything. Okay. And attempt. All right, cool. See you in the next one.